guys, welcome back, and before I get into this video, I just want to say a big thank you for 50 subscribers. I just noticed that I've actually gone over 50, which is amazing. It's a milestone for me, and although to some of you it probably doesn't sound like a very big number, it's really amazing for me, so a big thank you. And I love to make videos, it's just an extra part of my hobby. So thank you for supporting my channel. Something I promised that I'd do is actually show off the features of the Avocet ABS Mark III cylinder. So I'm going to do that in this video. Okay, so I picked it in well, a couple of videos back, but I didn't really look into the features. So I'm going to start with the cylinder itself. Works like a normal cylinder, as you just saw. On one side we have EXT marked, that's the external side. The lock itself is a dimple lock, as you can see, which can be high security. They can be easier to pick than pin tumbler cylinders, sometimes harder, but yeah, it's a dimple lock. It's a 5-pin dimple lock. 4 of those pins are pin-and-pin dimple lock, pin-and-pin pins. As we can see by the key, we have an outer dimple and an inner dimple. The camera will focus on that, and that basically means that there are 2 pins, one inside of the other, and they both have to be lifted up to the right height for the cord to be able to turn. Notice how I only said 4 of them are pin and pins. The 5th one is actually a magnetic pin. So we've got a magnet on the key, and the magnetic pin is basically a steel pin that sits in the core, and it sticks up into the shear line, and when you insert this key, the magnet sucks down the steel pin and allows the core to turn. So it's quite simple, but very effective. But that's not the only thing. When we put the key in, the edges of the key actually stop anything from going into the side of the keyway. But if we pick the cylinder, what will happen is there's actually 3 trap pins down either side, and trap pins are basically little wafers that are spring loaded, and they will spring into the open keyway here. Sorry, my voice is going a bit croaky, but yeah, they will spring into the keyway, and they will prevent the core from turning. They're easily bypassed. You just insert, a broken pick will do, and press them back in. They are quite fragile, so you do have to be careful. But you have to pick those a number of times before the lock will lock up. So picking is a bit of a hassle. But if you were to think about destructive techniques, it would be even more of a hassle. And let me explain. Well, this cylinder was probably designed during a time when cylinder snapping was a big problem. And what snapping is, well, here is a normal pin tumbler cylinder. This is a Yale, but very common kind of cylinder. We've got a hole here that's for a screw that holds the cylinder into the door. But the only thing that keeps these 2 halves together is actually the thin metal here. This cam doesn't actually physically connect the 2 halves. So what burglars do is they take advantage of this, and they'll use a pair of vice grips, clamp a hold of the front of the lock, they'll wiggle it, which is enough to break that little bit of metal, and they can then use a tool to turn the locking mechanism in the door. So some companies have done a little cutout here around the cylinder, which will allow the front of the cylinder to snap off and leave the locking portion behind. That's not very secure, so the idea of this cylinder is that they've taken that one step further. If the front of this cylinder snaps off, then a spring-loaded portion will spring into the keyway and stop anybody from sticking anything in here, and this cam will attach itself to the inside cylinder so that the lock can still be opened from the inside. So I hope that explains everything. If you don't believe me when I say that this lock is secure, it has a 3-star BS rating, as well as the Sole Secure Diamond rating. That is crazy. So if you want to, I'm not going to gut this because there are a lot of little parts in it, but if you want a more in-depth guide, then I recommend going over to the Lockpicking Lawyer's channel. I'll include a link to his video on this cylinder in the description below. Anyway, I hope this helps. Thank you very much for watching. I want to say a big thank you to David Edwards for letting me borrow this cylinder, as well as a couple of high security Yale cylinders. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.